Jesus said something that feels just as, I don't know, dangerous today as it did 2,000 years ago. It's this statement about two masters, two thrones, two kingdoms, and the single human heart that's caught right in the middle. For most of us, money is, well, it's just neutral, right? It's a tool. It's something we use to get by, to buy groceries, pay the rent. Nothing more, nothing less. But Jesus, he saw it completely differently. He saw it as a rival power. Yeah, a rival God. He didn't just say, hey, you shouldn't do this or try not to. He said you cannot. It's literally impossible. And that one little statement, it frames this whole hidden war that's going on for your heart. And let's be really clear here. This isn't about being rich or poor. It's not a teaching against having money. It's a warning about who or what ultimately has your loyalty. So, the real question becomes, who do you actually trust for your security, for your future? So to really get the weight of what Jesus is saying, we've got to go back to his world. We need to understand what this word mammon actually meant, because I'll tell you what, it was way more than just cash.
See, in the ancient world, wealth was the engine that made everything run. Gold was how kings showed they were in charge. Coins were how you paid the armies to keep you in charge. And for regular people, they weren't just afraid of swords. They were terrified of hunger, of being thrown out on the street, of not being able to protect their families. Wealth, it was the ultimate system of control.
So mammon wasn't just about money, it was a whole spiritual system. Think of it like a rival god, one that whispers promises in your ear. Promises of safety, promises of power, of being somebody important. And all it asks for in return is your complete trust, your loyalty. So into this world, this system, walks Jesus, a carpenter's son, right? And he comes with a message that just completely shatters the economic logic of every single empire on earth.
I mean, just imagine hearing this for the first time. If you're someone who's being crushed by the system, these words, they sound like hope. They're a lifeline. But if you're one of the people on top, the ones benefiting from it all, well, this sounds like rebellion. It's a declaration of war on your entire world.
Let's imagine mammon is a voice, okay, and it's whispering these four promises to you. It says, hey, I will keep you safe. I will give you power. I'll make sure you're not left behind. I will make you matter. It's promising to be the provider and protector you're looking for.
And here's the thing about mammon. It doesn't ask you to kneel at some golden altar. No, its demands are way more subtle and way more total. It asks for your time, your best hours. It wants your most important choices. It wants your peace of mind. And sometimes, yeah, it asks for your conscience too.
Okay, so fast forward to today. Because that exact same spirit, it's alive and well. It's just wearing a different uniform now.
See, today, mammon doesn't need to use iron chains. It uses chains of fear. It's that constant low-grade anxiety, you know? Fear of not having enough, fear of losing your status, fear of falling behind, fear of tomorrow. And that fear, it slowly, silently starts to replace our trust in God.
The system looks totally different on the surface, but the spirit is exactly the same. Instead of kings with crowns, we have leaders in suits moving global markets that decide the fate of entire nations. And for so many of us, the modern sword isn't made of steel. It's the crushing weight of debt that controls our choices.
And that whisper is always there, isn't it? Just a little more. Just get that next promotion, that bigger house, that higher number in your bank account. Then you'll finally be safe. But the finish line, it just keeps moving. So this really brings us to the heart of the matter. When things get shaky, when life gets uncertain and fear starts to creep in, where do you run? What's your first instinct for safety? That answer reveals your true master. Because what Jesus is doing here is presenting a choice. It's a choice between two completely different kingdoms, run by two completely different kings. And just look at the contrast between them. It's night and day. In Mammon's kingdom, your security comes from hoarding, from what you can stack up and control. But in Christ's kingdom, your security comes from simply belonging to the king. Mammon says your value is all about your productivity. Christ says your value is a given because you are loved by the king. One kingdom is all about earning, the other is all about receiving a gift.
And this is Jesus's radical alternative. This isn't some business strategy to get more stuff. No,
It's a declaration of loyalty. It's about reorienting your entire life, your priorities, your hopes, your fears, around a totally different king and a totally different kingdom.
So, what does that even look like in real life? Well, it really boils down to this. When the pressure is on, when you feel like you're being squeezed, whose voice do you actually listen to? Whose commands do you end up obeying?
Because here's the hard truth. Every system that we build is fragile. The kingdoms of this world, they rise and they fall. Currencies collapse, markets crash. Every single earthly throne is temporary. But there is a king whose kingdom isn't built on gold. It was built on his own blood. He's the king who wore a crown of thorns, and he endured the worst kind of humiliation and pain so that he could offer you a hope that is absolutely unshakable, an eternal inheritance. You cannot serve both. It's impossible to pledge your allegiance to both kingdoms. So the choice is still there. And it's a choice that only you can make. You get to choose your king.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. What do you think mammon looks like today in our world? Is it that constant hustle culture? The pressure of debt? That gnawing fear of missing out? Or is it something else? I'd love to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments.